She cannot sleep. The guilt is eating at her. Slowly her mind is beginning to drown in her thoughts. The skeletons in the closet will soon wake. Their bones crack as they rise, and it's all Lady Macbeth can hear at night. Her footsteps echo through the castle walls, but no one is awake to hear them. She herself is not even awake. A war is raging in her brain. Power is an interesting thing, for it can drive us mad with the mere suggestion of it. She dreams of killing Duncan. She dreams of the blood. There was so much blood. She talks of me in an almost unintelligible tongue as she walks the castle halls at midnight. She talks of both me and Duncan and what she's done. Even unconscious, she is quite astute. The gentlewoman knows not what she says, for she cannot hear the murmurs of a depressed psyche, but I hear. The doctor has given his verdict, and it seems that the lady is suicidal. Suicide is not much fun for me, however I still get her soul nonetheless. I'll give her a few more days, then I'll come. The lady's hands are raw from the water she continues to wash over them. She picks and rubs at her skin, convinced she sees blood where nothing is there. She rubs her hands raw once more. The guilt is the tool that will sharpen the knife, tie the noose, or push her off the edge. The guilt is too much for such a tiny conscience. There is nothing the doctor can do. There is nothing the priest can do. Only I can help at this point. I am relief. I am death.
One day in Scotland, a group of respectable Scottish noblemen met in the countryside near Macbeth's castle. These men had heavy hearts filled with anger and distrust. My presence was becoming more dominant. The castle was a sinister place in the country. I could feel the guilt, fear, and unrest in Macbeth's soul as I unhurriedly came closer toward him. Not too far away was the English army, which was being led by Malcolm. At this time I knew my job was fast approaching another hectic episode. I had been there to observe Macbeth's many murders. His victims' souls were warm with longing, but cold with rage. One of the many honorable noblemen, Caithness, approached the others to inform them of the tyrant king who was hell-bent on protecting his own castle. Even I, the presence among the shadows, could feel the soul of the fallen king going mad. The kingdom of Macbeth had ultimately collapsed. This is when I took my chance to get closer to Macbeth, breathing down his neck and leisurely confiscating the air from his wicked lungs. The small group of noblemen left for Burnham Woods to meet with the English army, an army of whose many men I would pick up in my own hand and capture, taking them off the battlefield. The nobleman in the country's loyalty belonged to Malcolm. This man will carry Macbeth in his own hands, a reflection of me, but will also become the doctor that will heal Macbeth's kingdom. The kingdom that was screaming in anguish as it was suffocating under the king's own hand. It will be a long time before I loiter in Malcolm's chamber's shadows.
Macbeth was tired of getting bad reports from others around him, even to the point where he said that fear does not affect him. He also believed that no man born from a woman would defeat him due to the witch's prophecy. How foolish of him to think that he would escape my grasp. A servant entered the room, shaking in the knees and very pale, with my presence lurking in the shadows dancing on the walls. He brought news that 10,000 soldiers from the English army were approaching. Macbeth didn't like the fear that my presence brought to the servant and sent him away to process the newly gained information. Macbeth also said that anyone spreading fear to the people was to be handed directly to me. Macbeth knew that this battle would either secure him in his kingly position forever or take it away. A servant came to Macbeth to confirm the rumors of the battle, and Macbeth ordered for his armor. He was so confident in himself, he said that he would fight until all the flesh had been hacked off his bones, for in that moment I was so close I could almost feel his heartbeat. It was now when the doctor entered, and Macbeth asked how his wife was. The doctor replied that she was not sick, but suffered from many hallucinations that kept her awake. I could feel myself hovering closer to her with every passing minute. Macbeth wanted his wife cured, but no medicine could cure my grip on her. Macbeth then asked for his armor and lamp once again, and to have his soldiers sent out. Before he left, he said, "I will not be afraid of death in vain." When my presence was following him so closely, witnesses could almost notice my shadow.
As Malcolm approaches Burnham Wood, he says how he hopes that one day Chambers will be safe. The fools never learn. Now he orders his soldiers to cut branches and twigs, and to disguise themselves so they may approach Dunsinane undetected. I still see them. They may fool Macbeth, but they will never trick me.
Macbeth, what were you thinking? Acting like you shall win this war when I was at your doorstep? You had no fear when any normal man would have been in his most frightening moment in his life. I'd claimed your most loved one. I have the last person who supported you, and you were acting like the half the country was at your back. You lived in a false sense of courage. You act like nothing could pierce through your heart of stone when a knife should soon be cutting through it. The rage, the anger, you were clouded at the worst time to be. Malcolm came ever closer through the trees. Be scared. You should have run away with your life. Maybe you were not clouded at all, but a smarter man than even me. Maybe you saw me clearly and awaited my arrival. Well, what done is done.
As I was looking down on Dunsinane, I saw Malcolm, Old Seward, Macduff, and their army emerge onto the battlefield with bows. I waited patiently for the time to come for me to take their lives. I watched as Malcolm's army prepared to face Macbeth. They had resisted me, for they would not go down without a fight. They sounded the trumpet signaling the beginning.
Macbeth cannot run away from me. I will get him soon. He encounters young Seward, who eventually realizes the true identity of Macbeth. On the battlefield, Macbeth strikes those around him vigorously. He kills young Seward on my behalf, and I am free to take him as my own. On the battlefield, Macbeth feels trapped. Macbeth believes the only way for me to take him is by using someone who was not born from a woman. He knows that's impossible. He has faith that he's invincible.
Still watching over the battle, I see that Macduff and Macbeth have encountered each other. As I watch, Macduff shouts to Macbeth, "I have nothing to say to you. My sword will talk for me. You are too evil for words," and they commence the fight to see who will get to see me next. Macbeth feels that I cannot hurt him, for he believes I have not found a man who is not born from a woman, but he is wrong. Macbeth finally realizes that I will take him, and he should not have listened to the wicked words of the weird witches. I used Macduff to slay Macbeth.
After taking the life of Macbeth, I listen in on Malcolm and Seward. They are talking about all their lovely friends that I had taken from them. Their victory did not cost much. Macduff entered the castle carrying Macbeth's severed head with pride. They all chanted, "All hail the King of Scotland," for Malcolm is now king. Malcolm promised they will receive great reward that they all deserve for fighting me off. All is balanced, for Macbeth and his lady are with me.